Live streaming is on.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday. On Thursday, September, what is today's date? Today is Thursday, September 9th. It is 70 degrees. Might rain today. It's getting some heavy rain in other areas, but we've been pretty okay. So today, we're going to continue in science and I will talk about the human body. I'm going to wait one more minute and then we'll get started. And we're just going to start with this screen. Oh, it didn't go there. Let's try again. Good morning. How's everybody doing today on this Thursday? On this Thursday, it's cool, feels like fall weather. Um, we're wondering if summer's over. Um, I think we're I think we're at the tail end, to be honest. Uh, but we're going to still be out there and enjoying ourselves because that's what we do. Oh, Lord. Melody, if you can get it together today. There we go. If we can get it together today, we will be in good shape. So let's get started talking about diseases of the female reproductive system. And so this picture, I always try to have picture to tell us what our subject is today. And we're going to be talking about diseases of the female reproductive system. We're coming up to October, which is official breast cancer month. And as you know from our illustration, um, cancer is not um, selective. Young, old, black, white, Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander, it doesn't matter. Some women, however, have a greater chance of getting cancer, of dying from cancer. But one thing that we can all do is make sure that we get our that we do our self checks and that we got if you feel anything wrong that you get a mammogram. If you have a family history, you get a mammogram. You don't be we're not going to walk in fear as we are educated people because we don't have to, right? We look for the knowledge and the information that will help us. So let's go ahead and dive in here. Disorders of the female reproductive system. So we're going to talk about the most common and what I've also given are two links, and I'll show you those after we finish this lesson. So really, what do you need to take from this lesson? You need to be familiar with the most common disorders of the female reproductive system. And today, I have taken the source of information from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, which not only talks about um, these kinds of health concerns, but they also um, pull together all the information about the most um, the the most serious illness in our face at this moment, which is the COVID-19 virus. So if you go to cdc.gov and type in anything that you need to search here, you will get all of real credible information, which means coming from experts, people who have studied and practiced these medical conditions. So let's get started. The first one is endometriosis, and it's a problem affecting the uterus where the baby grows when a woman is pregnant. And that happens when the tissue that normally lines the uterus and leaves the body monthly does not do that. It accumulates in the uterus. It can grow anywhere else on the ovaries, the uterus, the bowels, the bladder, the appendix. It can be even migrate through your body and be a form of cyst on your skin. This misplaced tissue can cause severe pain, infertility, and very heavy periods. The pain is usually in the abdomen, the lower back, the pelvis, the rectal area. Some women though may not have any symptoms and may just be having a hard time getting pregnant, and that's the first they find out about it. Can only be diagnosed through biopsying tissue. So you can't get a diagnosis without that, but that is a serious problem for women and one that causes extreme pain and one that isn't really talked about enough. Next, that you will see common in African American and Latino women are uterine fibroids, and they're the most common non cancerous tumors in women of childbearing age. And fibroids are just made of muscle cells and other tissues that grow in and around the uterus and the womb, or the womb, which is the uterus. Causes aren't really known, but risk factors include being African American and overweight. And also, there is thought to be a link between chemicals such as those in hair products, acrylic fingernails, cosmetics that can also have a link to both fibroids and to fibroids, endometriosis, and to cancers in women, particularly women of color. So, what are the symptoms of the fibroids? Heavy or painful periods, or bleeding between periods, feeling pressure or fullness in the lower abdomen, urinating often because of the pressure. Uterine fibroids can grow quite large to the size of a grapefruit, lower back pain, and also reproductive problems such as infertility, multiple miscarriages, or early labor. Some women, again, may have no symptoms, and this is why it's important for women to have routine exams, uh, routine gynecological exams. Then, if we talk about cancers that are unique to women, the five main cancers are cervical cancer, beginning in the cervix, the long to lower end of the uterus, ovarian cancers, which begins in the ovaries and are located on each side of the uterus, uterine cancer, beginning in the uterus, the pear-shaped organ where the baby grows when a woman is pregnant, vaginal cancer, which is in the hollow tube-like channel between the bottom of the uterus and the outside of the body, and vulvar cancer, which begins in the vulva, the outer part of the female genital organs. Um, so, again, regular checkups are important. It's also important for you to know your own body and know what looks right, what feels right, and what's not, and to get help as soon as possible. We don't have to operate in a place of fear. We are armed with information and care. Again, STDs, which I want to talk about separately. So they did point to HIV/AIDS, but I want to go into STDs separately. And here is cystitis. Interstitial cystitis is a chronic, ongoing bladder condition causing discomfort or pain in the bladder or the pelvic area. People with this condition, IC, will have inflamed or irritated bladder walls that can cause scarring and stiffening in the bladder. It can affect anyone, but it is more common in women than men. And again, you may have some or none of the following symptoms, including frequent urination, the feeling of urgency or the feeling that you have to urinate, um, pain in the bladder or pelvic region, lower severe abdominal pain that intensifies as the bladder fills or empties. This is a very uncomfortable condition. And then there's another one that I'm hearing more about now called PCOS, or polycystic ovary syndrome. And that happens when a woman's ovaries or adrenal glands produce more male hormones than normal. Again, in the male and female body, we are capable of producing the sex hormones for the opposite sex. So when there's more testosterone being produced, you may have infertility, pelvic pain, excess facial hair on the face, chest, stomach, thumbs, or toes, baldness or thinning hair, acne, oily skin or dandruff, and patches of thickened dark skin or black skin. and it can be painful as well. Again, we're going to talk about STDs as a human condition. So we're going to discuss that separately. And then finally, um, sexual violence. And the numbers are not given here, but it is thought that 1 out of 4 women throughout her lifetime will experience some type of sexual violence. 1 out of 4. Most victims are female. Um, the person responsible is typically someone that you know and a male person. And this may be a friend, coworker, neighbor, or family member. So here's a link to learn more about sexual violence. We have a Willow. We have an organization here that can assist if you're a victim of domestic violence and you need advice, you need help, you need housing, you need food, and they can take independent children. Intimate partner violence is something that we don't always talk about. And this is physical, sexual, psychological harm caused by a current or former partner or spouse. It can occur amongst same sex couples or heterosexual couples and does not require sexual intimacy. So, those are disorders of the woman's reproductive system. As we know, a system is a part of our body. So when we have these issues, they impact our whole bodies and mental and physical well-being. So the thing is to be armed with information, know where to go for help. So let's take a peek here for a couple of issues that again, that I showed this yesterday when talking about the male reproductive disorders in New York State. You can get diagnosis and treatment for breast, cervical, colorectal, and prostate cancers for free. So this is your link, and these are the different. excuse me. These are the different. And look at this on your own. I see here that it's a little small here, and it's small for me. For each disorder, they tell you what is covered. Okay. And also, um, enrollment in a cancer services program, you have a link here. You have a list here. There is an 800 phone number. And also, for the final resource, I wanted you, and this is it's very interesting read about African American women and breast cancer. Um, a woman's lifetime risk of breast cancer is 1 in 8. Breast cancer is the highest mortality rate of cancer in women between the ages of 20 and 59. I am a breast cancer survivor. I can tell you that when I was in my treatment that I saw women of all ages, including women in their 20s. So this tells us um, the numbers, products that can be linked, that have been linked to cancer. Why is this is serious? And also tips for women of color and some sources to take a look at that will also tell you about products you may have in your home that are unsafe for you or your children. So it's all about information. Knowledge is king. This is all we have for today. Again, just be aware of those main disorders. That's all we have, and we're going to move on. So that's it. Take care, be well, and I'll see you later.